So we are the same consciousness, just watching all the changes. It's always the same awareness. And we are going to get a little bit deeper today. We are going to deeper to the mind where our thoughts arise and when they dissipate. The problem with our thoughts, with all this, is that we get the impression that we think the thoughts, that we are the ones who think the thoughts. And we learn when we observe the mind that really the mind thinks, is the one who thinks the thoughts, who does it. And the thoughts really randomly pop up. You will see as we practice today, we will see that they just randomly pop up and then dissipate. And sometimes they take us for a ride. And when we realize that, we are already engaged. So this is something that we will practice and to observing today as we go into the meditation. And through the practice of meditation, we learn to watch as it's happening, and we notice the spaces between the thoughts. And with the practice, as we practice longer and longer, and we are becoming more proficient with that, we learn to expand those spaces between the thoughts, and we are able to experience more and more tranquility states. And I have to say, and we all know that, the thoughts are powerful. And everything starts from the thought. Every good and bad deed begins as a tiny thought, like a little sapling. And those little saplings are very easy to weed before they grow big root systems. And the idea is to learn how to notice them when they are still little, when they are still tiny, and when we are still able to get rid of them if they are not positive thoughts, if they are not something that we want to cultivate. So also the idea is to take that ability later from meditation, from our cushion, to our everyday life. And noticing the thoughts when they are still tiny and identifying them and letting go of them, removing them when they are bothersome or they are negative, blocking them. So the mind is a lot like garden. It needs constant attention. And the weeds can be pain in the neck. Many of us know, those who have gardens or at least know a little bit about that. And before I start leading you through the practice, and I will stop talking very soon, just want to say a few words about the one of the main texts on yoga, and this is Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. We read there that yoga, the unity with the absolute, happens when we stop identifying ourselves with thoughts. And it's not about removing them from our mind. It's mostly about, it's impossible to remove them from the mind because they are part of the mind. So like the waves are part of water, it's just about recognizing the thoughts for what they are. And what are the thoughts? So again, according to Patanjali, they are fluctuations of the mind. And when we look closely at them, we learn that there are only five types of thoughts. And that's kind of interesting. So there is correct perception, there is misconception, there is imagination, memory, and sleep. And that's it. Whatever comes in our mind belongs to one of these five categories. And when we know that, we see them differently. We see them when the thought comes, and then we can see, oh, that's memory. Or we can say, oh, this is something that I perceive. Or this is something I'm imagining, So it's easier when we see them like that, then we don't take them that seriously. And when we recognize them, and we can decide if we want to engage and go for a ride with them or not. So it's like a little bit like with people. that you would gladly go for a walk with some people, with your friends, but with some people you wouldn't. And you want to have that choice. So with thoughts, we also want to have that choice if we want to think them or not. And sometimes we are bothered by them. So through the inquiring about them is the process. In the process of meditation, we learn how to know which thoughts belong to which category, and we can choose to go with that thought for a ride or not. Or sometimes even, like with people, we know people and we like them, but sometimes we just want to be left alone and we don't want to go for a walk with someone. So with thoughts also, sometimes even good thoughts, we just don't want to think them, and we want to have that possibility. So we'll start the practice of meditation now. I'm going to mute everyone just to let me see if there is anyone waiting in the room. Yes, there is someone waiting in the waiting room. So let me bring everyone in. I'm going to mute everyone just for now. Very good. And I think we are ready to start. So before we start, let me start this practice with chanting Om 3 times. And if you feel like joining me, please feel free to do so. You don't have to. And enjoy. So let's just take a nice deep breath, sitting comfortably. Inhale. Exhale and notice that you are breathing. One more time. Nice inhalation for Om. So please find yourself a comfortable position, ideally sitting with your back straight and your shoulders relaxed. You can sit in a chair or sit in a floor on your cushion. If you need to lie down, make sure you don't feel too comfortable, too relaxing so you don't fall asleep. And your eyes can be either fully shut or slightly open. It depends on what's more comfortable for you and more useful. And we'll begin with a few deep, purposeful breaths. So as we breathe in, feeling our belly slightly expanding, and long, slow breath out. Breathing in deeply with a long, slow breath out. Doing it for a few more times on your own. Inhaling and completely exhaling. Feeling the abdomen expanding with every inhalation and very slightly contracting, or at least resting as we exhale. With the longer exhalations, We're activating our parasympathetic nervous system and the relaxation mode. So the meditation is more possible to happen. And then, if possible, just let go of that breath control. Thinking about inhalations, thinking about exhalations. Allow the breath to happen. Let go of any control. And we'll move our mind from our breath to our thought consciousness. So we will start noticing our thoughts. Now, when we know what they are, you may find these thoughts come to you as images or memories, sounds. You may notice also that you generate the thoughts as they come, as I speak, as you mentally talk to yourself, and that's all okay. Just noticing anything that arises in the mind. You may even want to label the thoughts as you see them, as you notice them arising. You may label them as an image, a memory, perception, some sound or smell, whatever it is. Imagining things. Any sounds. Even sensations in your body. It's just your perception. When it comes to your mind, is a thought. And then let's imagine ourselves kind of stepping back, getting slightly away from the thoughts, widening our field of vision. And again, anytime our mind has any sort of activity, is there a sound, maybe even sound of my voice, sensation in your body, any thought about the past or about the future? Each time it happens, you just, without labeling, just say to yourself in your mind a thought. So let's take a few minutes in silence doing just that. Anytime any sensation, words, memories, images arise, we're just going to say a thought. And now do, we'll do still what we have been doing, but we'll add to this. We'll not only notice the thoughts as they arise, but also we'll try to notice as they dissipate. It's a little bit more tricky, but let's try to practice that. So each time we notice a sensation, a memory, an image, word, we just say to ourselves a thought arising. And when we see the thought dissipates, when it's leaving us, we say a thought ending or a thought ends. And this way we are watching as they fluctuate, as they come and go. Thoughts arising and thoughts ending. And just practice that for a few moments, watching thoughts coming and going. And as we do that, we may notice that sometimes it's hard to see a thought when it first arises or when it's finally leaving us. And that's completely okay. Just keep noticing all the thoughts moving through your mind and ending. And then let us let that go for a moment as well. And let's widen our view even more, as if stepping even more further back, picturing the field of our mind. Imagine yourself as if you were looking at your mind, as looking as a field and seeing all the thoughts arising and falling. And now, when you've noticed how many they are, you can imagine them as little popcorn popping and falling down. And just sit for a moment watching the thoughts again with that wider view, without labeling them, without noticing when they start, when they go, just watching them as they pass, as they come and pass. Just watching without any judgment, without any agency, as if you were watching clouds or any nature phenomena. We are the watcher of the thoughts. And let's let go of that and bring the attention back to our breath, the sensation of our breath. And taking a few deep breaths into our abdomens. Feeling that breath, physical movement of the body as we breathe in and out, even very subtle. Keep our eyes closed as we let go of the practice. I'm going to hit the gong 3 times, so try to keep your eyes closed, waiting for the third sound. With great honor and respect, honoring our own heart, our inner teacher, and honor our practice. Namaste. I am going to unmute now and stop recording that.